So Andy Farrell is my name. I'm living in Skerries in Ireland. So obviously with Skerries in Ireland, I'm going to be interested in motorbikes because of the Skerries 100. Started racing 20 years ago and can't seem to get away from it. I tried to get away from it once, that didn't work out, so I'm back at it again. Loving it.
Sounds like there's a story there. We'll get to that in a moment. But first of all, Andy, I just have to get you to describe what you've got behind you.
So this is in my living room was a little Honda NX5 RS250. Came all the way from the Isle of Man from a friend of mine, Robert Kimvig, who's unfortunately not with us anymore, but his daughter is second in command in their race office with assistant clerk of course. Yeah, he's the assistant clerk of course. So yeah. So
Yeah.
sits there. I keep it warm.
And you know, you said that and you weren't joking, were you? I mean, it's actually
No.
you've got lights on it. So this is not something that you would ever consider keeping outside.
Probably not. No, I've taken it out once or twice, but I've always put it back in, and every now and again I just give it a little polish and I put the lights on it so I don't walk into it when I'm drunk.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And as you say, Lizzie Kinvig, so well known to anybody involved in motorsport here on the Isle of Man. So you mentioned that you started racing sort of 20 years ago, but growing up where you do in Skerries, you weren't really going to avoid it. Had you always had that interest in bikes growing up then?
I've always had an interest in bikes. We were never really allowed to go racing. So I only started racing when I was 30. Like, I was a young fella. Kind of, I don't know how to say I fell into it. I used to do a bit of motocross, bit of grass tracking, and I think it was actually 2005. I was out in a field. There was a few of us along with Martin Finnegan, and Martin being a local hero here, you know. So we had a bit of a ding dong, and I ended up getting by him on the motocross bikes. And I think then it was a couple of weeks later I seen him at the Skerries races, and I went, "Hold on a minute, he's doing that." And I fancied myself as a bit of a goer, so I says, "Oh, I'm going to give that a shot." And just literally like that, picked the phone up, rang my brother, and says, "We're going road racing." So he said, "Yeah, fair enough." So we literally from that, went and got my short circuit license. I think I'd done 2 races in 2005. I think one was Anglesey, and then I done a full season on the circuits on 2006. Applied for my road racing license and got it then, and hadn't a clue what I was at. Like, literally didn't have a clue. Never set a bike up in my life, but done that, and I had an introductory season like in 2007. I just was laughing to myself there. I remember my first time in Cookstown being my first road race, and we just done Cookstown, you know. It's oh my God, the nerves were something else. But once I settled in, and then in 2008, I decided to have a good go of it and bought myself a 750 for the support class, and I think through the year then I think I finished second in the championship or third in the championship. I can't really remember. I bought 2 bikes actually. I bought another 400 to do the small support, the junior support, and I think I won the Southern Centre championship on that. I think so. I don't really know, but it's had a blast. I just loved it. I just can't get away from it. You know, I just literally can't seem to get away from it. You know.
And if you had to kind of try and work out what it was that you loved so much about it, is it the competition? Is it the adrenaline rush? Do you know what it is?
I think maybe at the start it was just the pure adrenaline. You know, it was just like, where else do you get to ride like a lunatic? You know, on the roads. Now I would consider myself to calm down an awful lot. Early on in my racing, I wouldn't say I was a headbanger, but I probably had a lot less worries. But I think the longer you stay in the paddock, the more the paddock means to you with the people, and you know, I have a lot of really good friends in the paddock, and I think the thing with road racing is an excuse to go meet up with these people. You know, so you're meeting people, you have great fun, great time, and then aside of that, you get to do a bit of racing. But like throughout the day, you're only going to maybe racing let's say about I don't know, maybe an hour, 2 hours of racing, but you're there for the weekend, you know. So it's. I think it's more so probably the people now, but I still love a good battle. Still love a good ding dong and giving it a good lash. So yeah, I thought I'd slow down in my older age, but too many bangs in the head.
You're not that old. I'm nearly the same age as you, so you can't say you're that old. Um, are you the sort of person then that had, when you started, an absolute ambition in mind? I mean, I'm just thinking about racing over here on the Isle of Man and when that became a sort of thought that you wanted to do.
So I never actually been to the Isle of Man until 2008. Um, I didn't know what to expect. When I tell you I was green as the grass. You know, I watched it on TV, no problem. I'd listen to the radio, no problem. My uncle, who's been with me since day one, he's been going over to the Isle of Man for, I don't know, longer than I'm alive, probably. Um, so he said at the end of the season of 2008, after having a really good season, that he said, "Do you want to think about doing the Manx?" I said, "Yeah, okay, so we give it a go." But literally, I was as green as the grass, so green that when we arrived out, we flew over and actually hired a car, and we're going up Bray Hill, and he goes, "Oh, this is Bray Hill," and I went, "Yeah, right," and he goes, "No, this is Bray Hill," and I looked, obviously, I said, "What? I'm not going to go down here flat out." And he says, "Oh, you go down," and he says, "And you'll be looking for more." I was so green to it, but I think in the first year, yeah, 2009 was my first year, and I got a podium in the newcomers, and I just kind of fell in love with the place. It's very hard not to fall in love with the island. It's very hard not to fall in love with the people in the island. As I mentioned, Walter, like I consider Walter my Isle of Man pops and Lizzie my Isle of Man sister. There's so many people have been so good to me over there. There's Mike Kelly and Alan Kelly's Man Collection. Just they're just great. The people on the island are fantastic. And then once you race the island, if you're a road racer, like, does it get any better? So I don't think so. So I just kind of got addicted to it again, and the old ADHD, I just hyper focused on the Isle of Man, and that was it. Like, as I progressed through the island, I just wanted to, realistically, I wanted to get my name on a trophy. That's all I wanted. If I got my name on a trophy, then somebody at some time in the near future and the far future would look and see my name and go, "Who was he?" or whatever. For me, that became the goal, and I don't know about that, I think.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, you mentioned that podium in that 2009 one where your newcomer year. I suppose fast forward to 2018 when you had that double win at the MGP, also then becoming a member of the Tommy Club. I mean, I just wonder, that Andy sort of setting out in 2009, whether you could have ever dreamt of something like that happening at that point.
2009, I didn't think it. I was surprised. I passed a couple of guys out in 2009, and I thought, that's it, they're gone, and I'm away. And next thing, across the mountain, they're going back past me, and I'm going, hold on a minute, that wasn't meant to happen. But I rode for Martin Bullock as well in 2013 and 14. And a real good run in 14, and we got a double podium in the 1 week. I was second in the super twin race, the lightweight, whatever. Yeah, it's lightweight. It's a super twin, whatever it is. And I had a third in the junior. And I think when he contacted me first, obviously Martin Bullock has got an awful lot of success over there. He's unbelievable. I thought maybe he might have seen something in me, and I went, okay, well, maybe he sees something with his experience. But I never thought that I'd actually get to win. But when I got the double podium in 2014, it kind of set me up then to believing that there is a possibility, but it doesn't come that easy. it definitely didn't come that easy. You know, I think I've 7 podiums in total, including the 2 wins, and then I've got 2 trips in the helicopter as well. Um, so you live and you learn, and it's you know what. From now, I've learned to take what the island gives you. You know, if it's there, it's there. If it's not there, don't go looking for it. You know, it'll bite you in the butt. And I don't like helicopters. You know, so we try to keep out of them.
Yeah, if you would please. I think that's the thing, isn't it? You have to just rely on that gut instinct. It's so much more than just having the physical ability on a bike, you know, especially coming round here. There is so much to think about, and being able to trust that gut instinct. But also then you say, you know, you've had those 2 trips in the helicopter. You have to have some resilience to be able to come back from that too.
Yeah, look, the place is very unforgiving. It's very rewarding, but it's very unforgiving. You know, there's nothing like pulling into that winners enclosure for any step in the podium. You know, 2015, I was in second in the twin, and after the fuel stop, unfortunately my fuel cap came off, and then the bottom of Bray Hill covered me a load of fuel, and that was the podium gone. In the junior, I burst the back shock, so I finished top 10, which is pretty good for what it was. But in the senior, I was lying in 3rd place in the senior and crashed at the Craig. You know, and I think just chasing too hard, pushing too hard. Came back in 2016, and I was lying 3rd in the junior and ran out of road and talent at Glen Helen. And funny enough, I got away quite light for where I crashed. But you just take it in your stride. In 2015, I actually broke my back in Cookstown, but I never went to the hospital, so I didn't know until I found out when I crashed in the Isle of Man. They told me that I was lying in bed, I ripped my shoulder out, or I must have got my shoulder and a few other bits and pieces. My phone, a few other bits and pieces. And I remember the doctor going around going, yeah, fractures L3 and L4. And I go, no. I didn't break me back. What do you want about my shoulder? A few internals and ruptured an eye or something like that. And he goes, oh, no, this isn't today's accident. This is a recent accident. I didn't break me back. What are you on about now? Bookstown. So, now I had a sore back, but I just thought it was a bit of muscle damage, but didn't really worry me. I needed to get my signatures for the Isle of Man, so yeah, I didn't go to the hospital or nothing.
Oh my God, you are all an actual different breed. I mean, what it's like.
I think stupid is the word you're looking for. I don't think it's a different breed. Gobshite maybe, but yeah, broke me back, and then so I'm getting through that. I think the shoulder injury was worse than breaking me back, but the next year again, by 2016 I crashed at Glen Helen, and then 2017 600 was giving me massive bike trouble, and I needed to get a finish because it was monkeying me back, you know, after crashing out in 2015, crashing out in 2016. I got a podium on the twin again, which I kind of knew I could get. So without being big-headed, I knew that's where my pace was in it. But even in the junior race, I'm trying to get a finish on the 600. So another competitor, Rice Rowe, hit a telegraph pole in front of me. So in the junior race, the telegraph pole came down. I could dodge his engine, try and see where he was, but not see where he was at the same time, if you know what I mean. That was red flag. Got restarted. Coming down to the 11th, my visor come off my helmet. So I pulled in with the marshals and literally got them to tape my visor closed. I just needed to get it finished. So I got the finish anyway. No idea where I finished. But I got that monkey off me back, and then I was out in the senior 2017, and it wasn't a great race for me at all. My head wasn't in it, so I just pulled in and said, you know what, I'll come back again next year, better and faster and stronger. And 2018 proved to be the year I had the double, and they weren't easy. They were funny wins as well, but It's done the Dublin and then I got the Tommy Club, which I was surprised because it was slowing down on the last lap. I just wanted to get finished, going to beer with the lads, so I didn't want to jeopardise that. And so to get the Tommy Club was a definitely an added bonus, you know, something that I will cherish, you know. There's only so many people. It's 36 I did to get it, so even if they are, if there's more. But being a Tommy Club, I have the hat, I have the badge, and I have the little piece of paper that says I've done it. So, oh, good.
You know, going over that start finish line when you know, presumably at that point, that the win is yours. Do you remember what that felt like? What was going through your mind at that point?
Um, yeah, well, it's the fourth win was. Yeah, it was something serious. I remember coming up to Contamona and just saying, right, just hit your markers, take it easy, no worries, the grand, down to the nook, throwing the governors, and the bike went, duh. It's nearly out of juice. And I went, oh my God. Throwing that on the Glencountry Road, but once I had it sitting up, it was then that I knew I was going to win. Before I knew that I had enough in it that to get across. So just it's a very surreal feeling because you've done it, and then it's like an anticlimax. You go, what do we do now? You know, oh my God, like I have to move on. Do I move on? What made it special for me was coming up the return road, and obviously I had been pointed into the winners enclosure before. Whatever was coming in, the first person I seen was my mother, and the horse screaming and shouting. So I'm a real mammy's boy, so I am, and I think that's probably the biggest memory I have, is to share that with my mum, who comes to me everywhere where I go racing as well. So I think she'll tell you she's my number one fan, and then tell me she doesn't want me racing as well. But it's okay, you know. That was magic, absolutely magic, you know.
And you know what? I mean, she's literally seen it all then, hasn't she? She's had the literal highs and lows of your racing career so
You
far.
see
So
it well.
yeah, to
I
see that.
tell you. But
Oh, that's
she scratches her head. I don't know whether she knows what to be doing with me at all, but you know, she's there for the good times, the highs and the lows, and you can't have the highs without the lows. So it's just a great thing. Like people say, what's your biggest achievement? Winning the Isle of Man, and to be honest, I think my biggest achievement is bringing me friends and my family on 20 years of a journey of just having the crack. And there's something stories you could tell that aren't racing, you know. And I think that's where, you know, what makes the paddock so special, and you know, spending time with your friends so special, you know, and your family. And there's been some highs and some lows, but like, would I change it? Probably change the helicopter trips, but no, I don't think so. It's brilliant. You know, road racing is something special. You know, it's just something special, and the Isle of Man is the pinnacle of road racing. So you can't get any better. You know, a few more podiums would be great. If I could get back there and get into the winners enclosure again, it'd be fantastic. You know, but we'll see what happens.
And you know, it's so much more than just the actual racing then, isn't it? Like you say, you know, there's everything that goes with it, the paddock life, the people that you meet, the people who support you. I don't know what you're like sort of sponsorship wise and whatever as you've progressed through your journey and how you found that side of things.
Look, I've had sponsors come and go when things are good, and you know, it's without them, like when I won the Manx, and it was an Ollie's place, Super Twin. You know, he's a local publican down here, and I think he's only giving me back the money that I spend with him anyway. You know, but he's just so good to me. There's been others, Stead Plan, you know, John Duggan, you know, one of my closest friends, Johnny Farrell. You know, I've got a lot of these little personal sponsors and stuff. You know, I've definitely room for more in my life. You know, and if any wealthy man wants to come along and go pity me and go, oh, look, poor Andy needs a lot of help, I do. I need all the help I can get. You know, I'm plenty of room on my bike. I've been going around on my bike this year with no sponsors on it, so we could see what happens. I'm trying to nail down a couple of things for the Manx this year, and I go up to the Northwest tomorrow afternoon to see if I can meet a couple of guys and have a little bit of chat, and you know, try and make myself look impressive or something like that. I don't know. Chance anyway.
Just take your trophies with you in a wheelbarrow. You've got enough of them there behind you.
Yeah, we've got, yeah, but they go across the whole thing. They're the only trophies I keep out. Actually, I mean, Manx trophies. I don't really like looking at all the trophies. Not that I have a load like around. I will have them on the back room, but yeah, the two winners, the two winners trophies. And I've got. I remember. I think it was 2014. The Isle of Man Gold on two trophies. I, I know there's one here. I can put it around and grab it. With a kilo of silver.
Oh, look at that.
So I remember at the time when I seen them advertising it, I said, "Geez, I wouldn't mind having one of them." And I came home with two, so that was all right.
They're beautiful. So
So
yeah, just silver in the shape of the Isle of Man. Yeah, I think that'd be quite something to have. And
I thought I traded it in for the silver and weight, but then I said, "No, no, I can't do that. I'll beg, borrow, and steal."
and just still think about the sort of sponsorship and whatever. I know speaking to a lot of riders, they find it almost tricky to have those conversations and asking for money for something that essentially is your passion. And yeah, it's not an easy thing to ask people for money.
No, well, look in the current climate as well. You know, it's hard enough to get diesel money to go up the road. You know, it's very hard. Like coming in Skerries, like at one stage in Skerries, I think there's about 15 lads racing. You know, so there's, you know, we're all fishing out of one pond. Um, you'll find that if lads want to give you a few bob, they give you a few bob. You know, and it is hard to go fishing because a lot of people want you to do the TT, and like, I don't have the budget. I just don't have the budget or the machine for the TT. You know, the Northwest is on up there. You know, I could go to the Northwest, I could do the Northwest, but then I'd have no budget for the Manx. You know, so it is what it is. You know, I still go to Northwest and have a bloody great time. You know, I'm after watching Storm Facey there today, and he's absolutely phenomenal. You know, but I didn't expect anything less. You know, he's the pinnacle of racing in the BSB, so he's always going to be quick over here. But yeah, look, sponsorship. It's and I'm involved with the Lockheed Club as well, so they're coming back with the Skerries 100 this year as well. So every time I'm at a club meeting, they're always saying, "You can get any sponsors in for a race or sponsors in for the program," and I'm going, "I'm going to get you for myself," you know. But you know, I've had people like this. There's always people, you know. I'll get it there somehow, you know. You know, like I've got great family and great friends, and they all chip in, and you know, as I say, I know I get to ride the bike, but we all go on a bit of a journey, and that's fantastic, you know, and everybody wants a little taste of that as well, you know. It's, it's all
So
good.
when
It's good.
So I'm just curious then, once you've done something like the double at the MGP and you've got your Tommy Club and whatever, what were you thinking at that point about what was to come next? Because clearly it wasn't like, oh, that's ticked off. I'm done now. I'm gonna, you know, just give it up and pootle around. Did you want
So,
to
so when
move
I
on?
remember walking back from the winners enclosure after winning the second race, I remember walking back towards my caravan going, like, "Was that it now? What am I going to do now?" And I kind of went, thank, and I was going like, "Do I try to go to TT or don't I'd always kind of focused on the way I figured I'd always be able to maybe win a Manx, but I'd never win a TT, and that's why I stayed at the Manx where people come in and go out. As I said, I started racing fairly late. Um, Fell in love with the place, and all I wanted to do was stand at the top step, hear my national anthem, and have my name on a trophy. You know, and that was pretty special. I was very fortunate then that I was asked back. You know, I was given the option to race back in 2019, and we said, "Yeah, happy days, here we go." So I got another podium in the junior race there, and I I actually done 119.6 from the stand, 6.5 from the standing start, which I thought was more impressive than the 120. So, but yeah, I don't. I look at what I'd love to do with TT, but I think so. 2024, I wrecked myself as well. I broke my back again. My two arms, my two wrists, my hip, bleed on the brain, and that's taken a bit to get over, you know. So physically, to go do a TT. I wouldn't be able to do it this year anyway. I wouldn't be fit enough. But I don't know. I'm quite happy doing the Manx, and then I like the classic TT as well. You know, I love that as well. I don't need to be competitive to go out and try and do 130 mile an hour lap. I'm quite happy with what I've done, and I like to keep on just doing what I'm doing. And I'd like to think that I could still be at the sharp end. You know, last year at the Manx, things didn't quite go my way. I had a few technical problems in the junior and the senior. Sorry, the super sport and the senior. The junior and the super twin race, the bike I had wasn't the one that we had planned to have, but that didn't materialise, and it was basically just a standard bike. But I still managed to use me a little bit of knowledge, slipstream the quick boys when they were buying me, and I ended up doing the third quickest lap in the junior race on a pretty bog standard bike. So I'd like to think going back this year with the right machining, I still could be competitive. You know, there's probably lads going probably wish telling me to back off out of Manx and let them at it, but you know, you gotta beat me, And there's plenty of lads there very capable of beating me, but I'd like to think that I could mix with the best at the Manx anyway, you know.
And you were at Cookstown, weren't you, a couple of weeks ago? How was all that?
Yeah, Cookstown. Back to good old Cookstown. I was actually nervous enough going up to, believe it or not. But the weather was great. I was with me a couple of mates. I was out in a little 600 with a bog standard engine in it, and I was trying to mix it with a lot of newer bikes, and I can't remember I finished, to be honest with you. I think I qualified 10th in the 600, so there's a lot of good bikes behind me. That's the way I look at it. I actually got a water leak, holder ad in the race, but I got a finish. Don't know where I finished, I think 12th. The Friday night I was out in the open race, which I finished in 15th. But considering this bike's with twice the horsepower of my bike in there, and I was having a good ding dong with a couple of boys, and I came in with the biggest smile on my face. I sat down in the paddock after the race, said to my mate Johnny, I said, it doesn't get much better than this. You know, sweat pumping out, me feeling like an owl lad, and after having a great don't wringing the neck out of the bike, is getting as much as I could out of it. And so that's all I could do. But I was quite happy with it, you know. I don't know. I didn't go out to the grand final. Super twin race, I couldn't even tell you where I finished, you know. I just don't have a bit of crack, you know. I'm not usually staying back. I'd usually be checking the times and everything, going, how am I getting on? But I couldn't tell you if I went quicker or slower. I know I have gone quicker. But I had a great time. I can't wait to Pantry. I think Pantry is my next road race, so I can't wait.
Oh, you're living the dream. And what's happening then, MGP? Have you got everything sorted for that? Do you know what you're going to be riding and who you're bringing with you?
It's not 100% sorted what I'm going to be riding. We're looking at a competitive next gen bike, hopefully 600 or 765, whatever it is. Potentially a Ducati either ways. We're still looking. I've been talking to some people about that, but there's nothing in concrete. And I'm hoping to get a fairly competitive twin. You know, I'd like to go with something that I think I could do the business on. You know, if you want to make a cake, you need all the ingredients. You know, and there's no point in trying to do it when your mind is something. So, you know, I've been working well on my fitness, and I won't say I'm the strongest I've ever been, but I'm not bad. You know, as things is coming along, and I say the Manx still a little bit away, and you know the fitness is coming up. You know, I'm out doing 15k most days that I can. Yeah, I'll do a little bit more strength in my shoulders, but we'll get there. I think plenty of points. That's what I think is going to fix my shoulders. Something painful, you know.
That's brilliant. Where can people find out more about you, Andy? Then maybe sort of get in touch with you. Have you got any sort of supporters club? Do you go down that road?
I think we had a supporters club. I was only talking to me mate that was running it, maybe getting it back on together. But usually, if you want to get in touch with me, it's just on the socials. Like there's Andy Farrell Racing on Facebook. I presume it's Andy Farrell Racing on Instagram. I don't really know me log in or anything like that. But it's Andy Farrell Racing. You'll find me. You know, ask somebody. They know who I am. I've a lot of followers on Facebook. I don't really do it with my own personal page. keep telling people stop adding me and sending friend requests, and they keep sending friend requests, and I've got thousands of friend requests, and I don't answer them. I just go on my own the racing page. I keep my private life private, my racing life racing. You know, that's the best.
You want to make sure that none of them want to give you some money, though. I'd probably check that before you dismiss them as friends completely.
I get some now from Timbuktu wanting to give me 20 million when it was last cousin or something like that. But no, look, there's plenty of people out there. There's plenty of ways to get in contact with me. You know, you can send me a message on Messenger if you do, or you know, I'm on social media. That's probably the best way to get me. I think that's the thing now, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, it's certainly become part of the racing world, hasn't it? Having to put your pictures up there, and I suppose to some extent, some people really feel that responsibility to sponsors, in particular, to sort of let them know how you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not really one for the blogging. Is that what they all do now? I'm not really one for that. Like, I've had plenty of me videos on YouTube. I used to have a guy. I think 2019. The video from 2019 has got over 40 million views. It's fairly popular on YouTube. Yeah. So there's a higher crowd. Far higher. Is the crowd far higher in the Isle of Man? Yeah, well, I have a sticker on off them. Cat Moore used to look after me in Far Higher. They're in me dash, and I'm telling you, they've got the best advertising now of me, so they have. They'll have to come back to me and start talking to me. I must have made them a fortune. Didn't make myself a fortune, but yeah, 31 million. I think it's 31 million views. Probably 30 million on my man. I don't know.
But... Tell you what, I might borrow that video. Actually, I could do some of those views on the Startline podcast stuff.
Yeah.
Just very quickly, what is the day job, Andy? What is it you do?
What do we do? I'm a fab technician, I suppose, is the handiest way to put it in Intel. The easiest way to explain it. I do other bits and pieces. I do bits and pieces with me mate. He's a builder. I know nothing about building. I'm actually a mechanic by trade. I drive a bit of trucks here and there as well. I do anything for money. Tell me soul to the devil. I go and sweep the stands with the Sahara if I have to. You know. I do anything. I've been seeing pulling points behind the bar as well. Usually for myself, but yeah, I don't mind. I do anything. Just anything that'll get me money. If you want me to do something, give me a shout. I'll do it. I'll do it.
You know what?
Any money in that now?
I think this podcast title has just written itself. Andy Farrell, I'll do anything for money. We probably won't explore that anymore.
No.
Just finally, Andy, just thinking about MGP newcomers for this year, going back through your experience so far, what would be the best piece of advice you could give somebody who is setting out for the first time this year?
Oh, best piece of advice. Martin Finnegan told me, don't go chasing the speed, let the speed come to you. And I think that's probably the best piece of advice, because when I chased the speed, I ended up in the helicopter. So, you know, I think there's so much information out there with the island, you know, and I've helped newcomers as well. I've helped other guys. It's how would you say? There's so many little things, you know. Just I think when you're going to the Isle of Man, you just need to build. You know, if you do your homework and don't get lost, that's the first thing. You know, if you go out there and you want to turn left at Quarter Bridge, there's something wrong. You shouldn't be out on the track. You know, if you do your homework, it's just I'm one of these people. I need to know the names everywhere I'm going. If I can relate to the names everywhere I'm going, I can give you my P&L point, my apex, and my exits, my breaking points. I think it just boils down to homework and obviously go with a bike that they're used to riding, and literally don't go chasing the speed. You know, just let it all come to you, because you know you can frighten yourself over there. If you get little mistake can frighten you, and it'll upset you for the whole fortnight. It'll upset you that one corner where you frighten yourself, and whatever night it is. I've done it myself. I know from experience. Stay hydrated. That's the other one. Stay hydrated. You know, I do this. I say this a very polite way. If you think you need to go for a wee, go for a wee. Don't wait when you're going down Bray Hill going, I should have went for a wee. So that's the other thing. So yeah, now that's all to do with hydration. So it is really important to stay hydrated and keep your fluids up over there. Keep the head right. I think.
There's a choice of titles now, isn't there? If you need a wee, if you think you need a wee, go for a wee. I mean, they're just, all this advice. Andy, it's been brilliant talking to you. I think you win the prize for the best setup in the lounge. Maybe some more lights on that bike. And
that's at Christmas. Christmas time we get more lights
oh,
and a few little tassels and you little balls or whatever, Christmas balls and whatnot. Christmas cards maybe hanging out, but all good.
oh, brilliant. Andy, best of luck with everything that's coming up, and we can't wait to see you back here on the Isle of Man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth. Talk to you soon. Take care.